Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I'm Kim Falcon, intuitive channel, quantum healer, and hypnotherapist. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 key themes that I was shown are going to be playing out this year that are really going to be laying a new foundation for us by connecting us to different aspects of ourselves. And at the end of this year, you might be very surprised how your interests have shifted, how the things you find joy in have changed, and also how your value system is different. So within each one of these themes, I'm going to give you guidance that's going to support you in moving through this time with greater ease. And then as these situations come up, you already have what it is you need in place. You already have the tools in place. You already hold the awareness of what it is you need to do. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first theme is to narrow your focus and don't overcommit. So how many of you guys have found yourself overly excited about things and participating in different things, and then you start to commit yourself to too many things? You got a million balls in the air, and you start to feel stressed out and you start to feel overwhelmed. I know I have been there before. And then as I start moving through that experience or those situations, the energy gets chaotic and scattered, and I'm feeling stressed out trying to fit everything into my schedule. And that's not a good feeling. I'd love to hear in the comments below if you've ever found yourself in that situation where you've overcommitted yourself and then you're starting to feel stressed out, and how that made you feel. And what we want to do, of course, is avoid feelings of being stressed, avoid feelings of being overwhelmed. All right, so what I was getting with the guidance is that they were saying that it's going to be incredibly important this year to narrow our focus to a few key areas that we want to concentrate on. We're not going to be able to overextend ourselves this year, or with multiple projects or goals that are too high. The energies of this year aren't going to support that. Whereas in other years, we may have been able to get through it. This year, it feels like it would be very, very difficult, and either the momentum won't be there, or things won't fall into place to allow for that to happen, at least with ease and grace. Okay, so only a few key goals. The idea is to simplify. Simplicity is going to be key here, because this year is going to be about connecting to ourselves on a deeper level. That's for all of us, because we're in a 7-year. So 2023 is a 7-year. You do 2 + 0 + 2 + 3 = 7. And 7 holds the energy of this. It inspires this in us. And so the universe is not going to support outside distractions or busyness with too many things. So the things that are really going to be supported this year, and that you'll find would come with greater ease and momentum, are the things that come from our heart and the things that speak to our heart, in terms of what it is we choose to focus on. Because the things that come from our heart come from a pure place, and are more inclined to support the overall good of the whole. And anytime we're talking about being supportive of the whole, that's where we're moving as a whole. That's where humanity's moving. That's what's called unity consciousness. So those kinds of things you will find you'll have a lot of enjoyment in. You'll feel pretty supported in bringing those things through to fruition, and that will come with feel like there's momentum and that it feels easy to do. So whether it's something that more directly affects the whole or humanity, like something that's charitable, or something that's like indirect, that more contributes to your personal growth or your soul's evolution, that's also supportive of the whole, because what you do and how you evolve is in support of humanity too, because we're all connected. We're all one. So this isn't going to be a year where you say, I'm going to do everything it is I've been wanting to do for the last 10 years this year. That's not the energy that this year holds. And, being a few months into this year, you may be already feeling that too. Like it's more of an inward kind of introspective kind of energy. And so it's going to be important for you that you create from a place of focus rather than a place of being overwhelmed or scattered. So you're really going to want to channel your energy on only a few key areas that are important to you. And really connect into yourself as you are identifying what those areas are and what they are not. So I'd like to do an exercise, a quick exercise with you to help you discern what is aligned and what is not. And maybe you have to come back to this exercise because you're going to need some time to think about what those areas might be. But once you've identified them, or you think you have, then close your eyes and place your hands on your heart and ask your soul, so I'm asking my higher self, is X, Y, and Z, whatever that goal may be or activity may be, is this aligned for me to focus on? All right, so now that you've asked the question, then bring your attention down into your heart space. So move your focus from your head and your thoughts and thinking down into your heart. And as you do that, breathe into it and see how it is you feel inside around what it is you've just asked about, that activity or the goal. And if you have feelings of excitement or thoughts of inspiration, then that's usually a good indicator that things are pretty aligned. If the answer is no to that, you don't have those feelings, and you have feelings of uneasiness, anxiousness, or things just feel kind of complicated inside as you connect into that energy, then that's a good indication that it's not aligned. And this is an exercise that you can do with anything, whether it's a relationship, a job, whether or not you should or shouldn't do something. Try this exercise. It's quick and it's helpful, and your heart never lies. All right, so the next theme is finding joy in the non-material world. So this is going to be a year where people are going to be finding joy in the simpler things in life versus extravagance. Again, there's going to be a lot going on this year that's going to be redirecting our focus to assist us with our own evolution and ascension. Okay, so activities that promote connection with each other and with ourselves, that promote joy and simplicity versus extravagance, are really going to support each one of us. So, for example, things like gardening, that can be incredibly therapeutic. It can be meditative. It's connecting us with the earth, with vegetation, with growth, with the animals. Bringing us out into the sunlight, because the sunlight is going to be important for us this year. Not that it's not always important to get a little bit of sun, but it's going to be extra important, it feels like, this year, to let the rays of the sun, connect with the rays of the sun and let it hit our skin. And it's going to be doing a lot for our personal growth. So things like that versus let's say that expensive ski trip to Aspen, or let's say using, part of our savings to go on that world cruise, the around the world cruise that we've been thinking about. That's not really what this year's energy holds. It's going to be more about scaling back, simplifying, finding joy in new ways, and appreciating what it is we already have versus what it is we acquire, like in purchase acquire. So it's going to be a lot about finding joy with what's already in front of us, what it is we already have, and being really content with this. So interestingly enough, and to that point, it's also not a surprise that at least here in the States and in other places too, that we are experiencing inflation or an economy that doesn't really support extravagance. And because extravagance or placing our attention on the outside world, or the material world, I should say, is really a distraction from who it is we are and who it is we came here to be. And it's a distraction that we've um, been held by for many, many years through our existence. And so things are starting to change a little bit. And that's what I mean when I say our value system is shifting. We're in the process of our value system shifting. And so what that's going to teach us, and what it is that we're going to find from this, is just how much it is we thrive in circumstances of inspiration versus acquisition. See how different that is? Inspiration versus acquisition. I mean, the words alone have a different energy to it. And it's a different way of being, which is what this is all about. So if you're finding this information to be valuable and interesting, it would really support me in doing more of this content if you hit the like button below, you subscribe to the channel, and share it out with other people that might also find it interesting. This is going to be a very important year for us. And so the more tips and tools that we have, it'll make it easier for all of us to move through those challenging times. Okay, so let's get to the next point. And the next one is taking greater care for and being in tune with our body. So organically, more and more people are going to start paying attention to their bodies, and they're going to start to recognize the importance of the role the body plays in our very existence. So of course it does. And we kind of, conceptually we understand that. But what makes this time unique is that we're going to start to appreciate our bodies more. And with that appreciation will come the desire to care more for our bodies. And so why is this happening? It's our light bodies coming online. So what does that mean? Well, as we elevate in consciousness, our body does the same thing, which then creates a beautiful space for more of our soul's light to inhabit our being. And when that happens, it draws attention to a part of us that we never paid attention to before, which is our bodies. We mostly, took them for granted as long as they were doing what they needed to, what we needed them to do for us. That's all that mattered. Well, this is a whole different ball game. And so our bodies are going to require that attention from us. And we're going to be more drawn to do that. We're going to take greater care with what we put in our bodies. So hydration has come up as being very, very important too, like keeping the body hydrated with pure water. I feel like this year is going to be very important for more and more people. What we put in our bodies with food, and also chemicals and the products that we use, things like that. More and more people moving towards a vegan diet, but also, even those that have still decided to keep animal products or meat in their diet, they're going to have also a more desire to treat the animals with more respect, compassion, and kindness in the process. So, what that might look like is buying cage-free eggs, organic meats with where the animals are free range, things like that. And then with even with like homeopathic remedies, it feels like more people are going to be educating themselves on these types of things before, what they might have done in the past, going and buying over-the-counter medicine, or even going to see a doctor, kind of wanting to understand what they can do for themselves first. And this is a part of the ascension process. It's a part of, researching and educating ourselves, being an active participant in our own lives, rather than kind of where humanity has come from, which is taking direction from the outside world, not questioning anything, not researching anything, not coming up with their own intuitive sense about what works for them, and just listening to, professionals or doctors or whatever the case may be. But this is starting to take a change now where people are going to become more active participants and have a desire to take that active role in their lives. So movement of our body becomes very important too. Our light bodies need that. We need that flow of energy. And that flow of energy is what connects us to all living things, to the world around us, to ourselves, to each other, and also to the higher realms. So you can see where the old ways of being, where we would just be sedentary all day long, at our desk, more and more people are going to see how that's not going to, their bodies are going to be speaking to them, saying, you need to get up and move the energy, move. And so people might do things at work, like, at their lunch break, instead of just sitting at their desk or going to a restaurant and sit down, actually getting up and taking a walk around the block and getting some sunlight, moving the energy. That it feels like is going to be incredibly important, and one of the ways we're going to be called to support our light bodies. Okay, so let's get into the next theme, which is going to be about less focus on other things or other people that are counterproductive to us elevating in our own consciousness, which means that there's going to be a greater focus on ourselves. So what does that look like? Well, we're going to have less desire to get involved, especially to the depths that maybe we've done in the past with other people's lives and what's going on with them and the drama that comes with it. So we have done ourselves, humanity, when I say we, humanity, we've done ourselves such a disservice by expending our energy in so many different ways that never served us, and that really derailed us from experiencing the power of who we are as creators, and kept us from even knowing ourselves or even understanding ourselves as that, as creators, because we've been so distracted and immersed with everything else. So I want to give a quick example of what I mean by this. So I noticed that when my daughter, who is 10, has minimal to no screen time, she is much more creative. She's playing the piano, she's painting, and she's painting beautiful pictures. She's reading, she's enjoying it. She's much more present. She's participating in conversation. And she's much happier. I mean, it's drastically different. And this is no different than adults when we are preoccupied or we are giving our attention away to other things. And one of the main ways this has happened is immersing ourselves with the drama of the outside world. There have been people, situations, the media, for example, that have pulled us in where we've given our energy away willingly. And we've done the same to other people where we've pulled people into the minutia of our stuff too. And so one of the beautiful things about higher consciousness, which is what this time is about, right? Anytime that we're being, drawn inward or we're connecting more deeply within ourselves, that's elevating our consciousness. When that happens, we don't have a desire to expend our energy in the old ways. And we also would never pull other people's energy into our stuff in the way we used to either, because when we're elevating in consciousness, we're learning to clear our own programs within ourselves. We're learning to do all of that within here. It's a whole different ballgame, and that's what this time is teaching us. So we're going to want to be focused on other things. That's where our desire is going to be. Our desires are going to shift and change as a result of this. When I connect with the energies, they're pretty intense. And what I getting from all of this is that we're really gearing up right now. We're laying a foundation. We're not doing the old stuff like we did before, all the drama, all the giving our energy away, the distractions, all of that is starting to go away now as we move our attention and our focus to new things that are actually going to elevate us and move us forward. And I guess you could call this as being like choice point. So our choice point is really critical right now. The decisions it is that we're making today are really going to be determining the trajectory we put ourselves on, what timelines it is we're going to be living from, the realities it is that we're going to be calling forward and living in. So it's very important. So I looked up what choice point means, like the definition of it. And it's the space you're in right before you make a decision. It's the framework that's used to make decisions that help us prioritize our goals and our dreams. It's the moment where you can pause and connect with your why before you make a decision. And that's what these energies of this year are. They're really going to be fostering in us. So you can see how important this time is, because what we decide today, this time is like no other time. What we decide today, what we choose today, what we do today is going to be really deciding what it is our futures are going to look like. And not only that, but what earth we're going to be living on. Are we living on old earth? Are we living on new earth? I don't know about you, but I'm ready for new earth. We've been there, done that, and that's not such a great place to be. All right, so let's move on to the next theme. Now, the next theme is investing in ourselves. That's coming up as a key theme, that more and more people are going to be investing in themselves. Why? Because everything about them is shifting and changing. Our bodies, our consciousness, the consciousness of our bodies. And so it's like when new technology changes, we have to learn the new technology so that we can incorporate it into our lives. And that's what this all is about too. That's what happens when we raise in consciousness. It's a new way of life. It's like learning a new technology that we're then have to learn how to live by. So we're going to be evaluating like who we are in this new landscape. And in order to kind of get clearer on that, it's going to motivate us to want to invest in ourselves through things like retreats or coaches or mentorships, classes, books, any kind of audio that we can listen to, personal connections that are going to expand our thinking into discovering who it is we are, and to start laying the foundation down for what we want our contribution to be to the greater whole, but also for the expansion of the joy and fulfillment within ourselves. And interestingly enough, that's how it is we're going to start living now. That's the basis for which it is we're going to be making our choices and decisions. How does it contribute to the overall whole? And how does it bring joy and fulfillment into our own personal lives? Now, is everybody going to be aware of this as they're making their choices and decisions? No. But on a soul level, they will be. And what will happen is that choices or decisions made from a self-serving place will just dissolve, or they won't have the momentum to see that reality through, or the reality just collapses altogether. And this is the direction that humanity is moving in, so that new realities are birthed from a new place, a pure place. And that's how we create new earth realities. And so this increased desire to invest in oneself means that you then begin to create from a new you. So it's very interesting now when we take a look at this year as being a 7-year and the key themes it is we've talked about. Because the 7-year is a spiritual number. 7's a spiritual number that holds the following qualities. So the first one is it's usually a time of spiritual awakening, knowledge gathering, solitude, and inward focus, which, if you'll take note, every theme has involved some of these qualities. It's an inward focus, of course, more than an outward one. And when we talk about connecting to our bodies and our light bodies coming online, that's an awakening. When we talk about investing in ourselves, that's knowledge gathering. So the energies are all working together in support of laying a foundation, a new foundation on an individual level that then changes who it is we are, where it is we're creating from, and how it is we're showing up in the world. And all of this then begins to shift all of humanity. And we start to create a new earth out there. How powerful is that? Thank you for being here with me, and I'll see you in my next video.